Hi, everyone. We're back on the air. Welcome back to this mini series. This is our second episode, and we're going to be talking about B visas for artists. Welcome back to our little show, Adriana.
Thank you for coming back, everyone, and let's hope that we enlighten each other upon the paths of the B visas and how they can be maneuvered to allow artists to come into the United States legally.
I should say I don't know much about this B1 visa. I don't know about the B2 visa. I don't know about the O visas. Can you tell me what is the best purpose for a B1 visa and why would I use it, or what are the main reasons I should apply for a B1?
So, the B1 is for any professional to enter the United States as, let's say, for a conference. Okay, for artists, it is a wonderful way to enter to negotiate contracts, to meet the team, to perhaps go for recitals, and to just maybe visit the venue where they're going to be performing sometime in the future.
What's the main difference, okay, between a B1 visa and one of the proper artist visas, like the P and the O's?
So the B1, you may not be paid for, and you may not properly perform. The and you don't need a sponsor to enter on this non-immigrant status. The O's and the P's, you've got to have statuses apply for to the United States immigration officials first, and then once that process is over, you apply for the visa within the country of origin. Let's say Romania in this case.
I understand. So the P and the O's take much longer. They're
Yes,
much more expensive.
yes.
And in the cases the B1, as we can see on the screen, it's up to 60-day entry. What about the difference between a B1 and a B2? And which one do you recommend for an artist when they come to the United States?
So it really depends why the artist is coming. If the artist is coming strictly to be a tourist, then the B2. Aside of that, it is not recommended.
So if
The
we're going to negotiate a contract, then probably apply for a B1. And one of the differences is, the duration of stay. They can stay longer with a B2 visa, correct?
Yes, that's the beauty of the B2. You come in and the CBP officer stamps the passport with typically 180 days with 6 months.
And what's the cost for a B1 or B2 visa? You
Oh,
say
thank
cheap,
you.
cheap, but what does
Right.
cheap mean?
That's a wonderful question because so many individuals prefer to come in on the B1 just because it is you apply directly at the embassy. You don't need extensive documentation, and the cost is just the cost of the visa itself, which is about $220.
So I think we should remind people this is not legal advice.
Right.
But what we're differentiating here is if you're deciding to, open a venue, sell tickets, basically go to a venue, sell tickets, create advertising for the event, then I believe that we're going to go into this brings us into the O and B territory. Is that correct?
That's correct. So the process of starting to do that, one can come in on the B1 to just oversee. But once the tickets are sold, once the venue is set, then we go for either the O or the P visa.
So let's say I am the leader of a local church, and an artist from my hometown in Romania is a good friend of mine, and I wanted to bring him to sort of our basement and say, "Hey, will you just sing for us? Will you just entertain us? There's not going to be any advertising. We're not going to be selling tickets. They should be using a B1 or B2 visa."
Well, if they're just doing an unofficial recital in that basement, you could argue it's a B1. If they're just playing and singing with friends, which it sounds like, it could just be a B2 visa.
What if we, for example, and this is actually a concrete example. I have a friend who's an actor. He came to see us many times, and I invited him to, simply come to an event that we're doing every summer. It's a picnic, And he said, well, could you pay for our plane ticket? Is that illegal?
No, you can definitely pay for the plane tickets. It's fine. It's,
That's
when you have your aunt from whatever place in Romania coming, you might choose to pay for a plane ticket, right? It's the same
that makes
thing.
sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I do want to remind our listeners that there's been actually some actors that came to the United States. They arrived here, and there was an ongoing festival. And somebody asked them, "Well, would you like to come join our festival?" And they said, "Sure, I guess I could come over." And saying they were not paid, they were not, I don't remember if they were selling tickets or not. But it turns out that there was a lot of advertising, and they put their name on the poster, and I believe they were selling tickets. And
Mm.
later on, several years later, when they went to the embassy, the in Romania, the officer dug out from social media the previous posters, and it shows the posters, and it showed the posters to the artist, and said, "Well, here's a poster that is it was I'm 100% it was a paid event now. I'm just
Right.
thinking about it, and it said, you're on this poster. This is a paid event, and we're sorry, we're going to have to deny you your visa. And not only that, but also I believe they had a, now they can no longer get a future artist visa. So we do have to remind, our listeners about these stories because they're important to keep in mind. And what is
Of
the
course.
ESTA? Just to state, like, I know ESTA doesn't apply to Romania today. When will it apply to Romania, and why would anyone use the ESTA visa?
So ESTA is a combination of the B1, B2. That's it, simple. And the why Romania doesn't have ESTA, each individual has his or her own opinion. I've got my own, and mine is that unless you show that the denial rate or the acceptance rate of individuals going for visas is a certain threshold, you can try just about anything. So basically, you need to work on the officers, on the embassy officers in Romania to influence, inspire them to grant more approvals, and then Romania might just have a chance at ESTA.
So, since we got here, I do know a little bit about this topic. I believe that we are in the process of trying to, Romania is in a process, I should say, of trying
Yeah.
to reduce the rejection rate to below 3%, which is it's a low threshold. I believe currently we're around 9%. But if you reduce it below 3%, we might enter the visa waiver program. And this is something that I believe a lot of our listeners are going to be hearing about in 2024, or probably even late 2023. So,
Good luck.
anyways, can you tell us what are we going to be talking about next time?
So next time we're going to be talking about the O visa, which is the outstanding, the renowned artist.
So, look
Yes.
forward to the next episode, and thank you very much, Adriana, for being here with us today.
Thank you all for listening. Bye.